We call the Criminal Justice Committee to order. May I have the motion to approve the minutes of the prior committee meeting? Simpson, Brock, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Action agenda, the new business. Request to reorganize salaries as per the chart. And the rationale is that the resolution requests and notices of intent to fill for positions per reorganization due to resignations. The floor is yours, Mr. DA.
Thank you very much. Everybody here, I'm sure, is well aware of it, what transpired recently, Kate Hogan being nominated and confirmed as a Court of Claims judge. And in her wisdom, she's taking a couple of great people with her that she's worked with for 17 years. Well, one for 12 and one for 17. That would be, on the attorney side, Emily Davenport, and Debbie Smith, who I'm sure you all know, she's been up there a lot, and she helped a great deal in getting this put together. So she's still going for a little longer, and obviously we're really going to miss them. It's like a family that's been together for so long. I've been there myself for 18 years. So in this, that's a big change. You don't have three pieces at the same time, Kate, and similar time, Emily and Debbie leaving. And so I saw it as an opportunity to fill those positions, make some salary adjustments, and make a few tweaks that I think will hopefully make the department run better. And if you look at what I've put forward, I think that there's even room for a little bit of savings in what I'm proposing. Put a lot of thought into this, and what I'm proposing is making some adjustments in the salaries of attorneys that will be filling into these slots. Every attorney that's already in the department is going to stay and move up one. And we do have, we're very hopeful that we've got someone that will come in with quite a bit of experience. So you're going to see, if you look at this packet, when you see the first ADA, that slot's already been taken care of. I just wanted to put that on for illustration, so you should see where we're getting some money in the hopes that we can deal with our arraignment situation that we're dealing with. So that position is filled, and there was an adjustment because the position went from 18 years experience to 12 in that case. We have a person in mind who used to work in our office for the second ADA position. That person has about 12 years experience, 6 in prosecution, and is currently prosecuting. And you'll see a salary adjustment reflecting the amount of prosecution experience. The third position is someone in office who's got 5 years doing a really great job, developed a ton, especially over the last couple of years, I would say. And that adjustment is, we're going from someone with more experience to someone with some less experience. And that kind of goes on down the line, those slight adjustments. I'm taking into account that. In doing that, we were able to create some money, and my hope is to get away from, we have one attorney right now who's currently the 7th ADA who works every weekend. That's the way it's been fashioned. And it made sense at the time because we had so much experience in the office. We're obviously losing that, and you can't just magically get a Kate Hogan, Emily Davenport, and Debbie Smith overnight. So we want to develop this new group and keep them around and hopefully have a nice core. I can remember at times Warren County was lucky enough to have multiple people in the office as attorneys that had about 10 years experience, and we've got some very experienced staff people that have really stuck around, half a career already, and I hope they continue to stick around. So I don't mean to be long-winded, but I want to make sure I make all my points here. My plan, if everyone agrees, is that we will have a budget line. It's not from a grant. It's nothing like that. And as you'll see, there's a little savings even if we do this. That will pay an allowance of $250 a day, and that will cover an attorney that goes to a weekend. They'll be responsible for weekend arraignments and holiday arraignments. We're 365 right now, really 24/7. Part of that's just the nature of the job. Myself, and actually I'm looking at Paulette Hayes who's with me today. Everyone knows we had the Alexander West trial recently. I would say Kate and I were easily 100 hours a week. None of that's contemplated in here. That's not what I'm referring to, so I don't want someone to think we're asking for that. That's just part of the business. Paulette, in fact, I can remember her helping me copy till 11:30 at night when we were here working on that. That's the nature of trials and this kind of work. So when people are doing all that, and then on top of it, you say, hey, by the way, Christmas Day, you've got to cover arraignments. I think this is a great way to address that. It's fiscally responsible. It falls underneath where we're at, and it will allow us to have all our attorneys 9 to 5. I say that 5 days a week, and then they'll be available on the weekends and the holidays, and that'll rotate. The danger that we face is if we have what we have right now in our office, the one attorney, if he finds another job of similar salary that is Monday through Friday, that is going to be more appealing. And when we lose them, we have no system in place to cover that. If you have this system set up, if you lose an attorney moves on to a better opportunity, whatever the case may be, all the other attorneys are just designed to fill in. You're getting all different experience levels, and everybody's available. And it can't be broken, you know. So I really, really prefer it. Also, I like the fact that there's a little incentive built in. Okay, yes, I'm doing this extra work, I've got this extra labor, but there is some benefit that I can see for doing that. Another feature of doing it that way is I really feel like to grow a young attorney and help them improve, the way it's set up now, we have that young attorney on Saturdays and Sundays here working. There's no support staff and there's no other senior attorneys scheduled, you know, and if they're here, normally they're working on their trial or their appeal or whatever they have to deal with. So the thinking is, they're just not going to be able to grow in the way that you want them to. When we do felony trials, for example, oftentimes we'll have an attorney second chair on a felony trial. Well, those can last 1, 2, 3, last one into a 4th week, and it's not on the weekends. I mean, there's work on the weekends, but the actual trial isn't. That attorney would never make sense in that position the way it's set up now. So I'm not trying to oversell this, but I really, really see, I've thought very hard about it. I've run all the numbers. And I feel like it's going to give the office will become a little younger, but we will have enough people to cover all these arraignments that are becoming more and more and more extensive. As an example, yesterday, I think we got a call all at the same time that we needed a person in Glens Falls for an arraignment, a person in Queensbury for an arraignment, and a person in Lake George for an arraignment. And if that happens on a Thursday or a Friday, which it does, we don't have that other attorney available to us. It's just one less person around. And we also have grand jury, we have all these other courts going on. It's become a great burden. I think this would unburden that and make it a more efficient office. And I think it would also give us an opportunity, hopefully for those younger attorneys to see some growth and some opportunity within the department.
Jason, we're still kicking around the nighttime arraignment situation, so this plan of yours would probably fit that very well too.
Let me explain my thinking, at least in the I know the arraignment process is developing, and I get that. There's a lot of pieces to put together. What I would do is there's an arraignment phone. If you sign on and you say, I'm doing the weekend arraignment, you would hold that phone until you pass it off the following weekend. If there's a nighttime arraignment, there's things, it's just part of your responsibility. When I started here, which was a long time ago, I did Hague Court, that was at 7 at night. I did Thurman Court, that was at night. I did all these courts were night, many of them were night courts. Some of that has shifted. And that was just part of the deal. You would work your 9 to 5, and then you would get ready for your court and drive up to your court. And so there is an understanding that there's expectations of the attorneys to cover these things. And I think that would be a nice way. Yes, there's no extra money built in for that, but that is part of what you sign on.
And it would probably, if it's localized in one position or one area, it'll make a difference too.
It would make a huge difference, I think. Not that I'm trying to tell anyone on
Me
this.
neither.
but the more, within the process, the more centralized it becomes. That's a savings from every aspect that I can see. Defense, law enforcement, court system. There may be something I'm missing, but certainly I think people are working in that toward that.
Okay. Yes, Rachel.
I'm happy to move A through H to get it on the floor for discussion. I do have a question once we get to that point.
Seconded by Matt Simpson. Okay.
May I ask my question
Yep.
now that we're at discussion? Jason, I'm just wondering, are other communities handling this challenge in a similar fashion as what you're proposing?
I'm not certain about I haven't really had a chance to really explore that. I believe Washington County has an arrangement that's dealing with the nighttime arrangements that's like a per diem as well. I have reached out to some of the other departments. I was recently at the district attorney's conference. What Rachel's referring to was, I think, what was put together. It's all the same numbers, but it looks a little different. So
That's for personnel, for the, how it's approved. Sorry. Everyone awake? Sorry. No, I think it's a really neat idea. I think that you're establishing more of a best practices, and I'm just wondering if in the next 3 to 6 months, if this isn't working out the way that you've envisioned it, I assume you'll come back to us, say this isn't working out, you need to change it up, but I think it shows a vision that we should be very happy to see that's also fiscally conservative.
Well, I think, number one, I have talked, so I was just, Friday was the District Attorneys Association, which is every elected DA in the state gets together and deals with some of these issues. And just in talking to the other prosecutors, I said, how are you handling this? And it's a real mixed bag right now on how they're dealing with it, because it's evolving, frankly, and it isn't settled. I talked to some people, they said, we don't even have a handle on it, so we're not frankly getting to all of those. We're not making it. We don't have the system in place. We know there was a lawsuit related to this out of county, and a big Court of Appeals case that came out, and certainly lawsuits aren't a fiscally viable thing either. We want to keep things clean and kind of be ahead of any possible problems. And I know the Public Defender's Office has been doing a great job trying to attend to every arraignment that's, and I don't know their numbers, but I know they're doing a great job because we're at those arraignments and they're at those arraignments. Obviously, we need to be there, otherwise you're having ex parte communications with the court, and there's responsibilities we have. We have to announce trial readiness, serve what's called 7-1030 notice if there is any. If there's grand jury, we have to give, we have responsibilities at these arraignments as well. So if you look at the actual numbers for weekend holidays, you're looking at a total figure of $28,500. In the salary adjustments, it's savings were like $29,665, taking into account some of the changes in the experience. So there's a net savings there of a little over about $1,165. I think it's really going to work. I think of my own life, and when I was younger and working, I would say, give me more hours. Just let me work more, and if I can make a little more money, I would love to. And that's what I always did until I became salaried here. And then I was just said, here's more hours. And you're salaried and enjoy it, and that's fine too. But at any rate, this is a nice thing, and I think it would solve a lot of issues. And like you said, we can look at it and we'll see how it's working as we go forward.
And just to clarify my motion then, A through H is what appears at personnel, but A is equivalent to each item here. It's just not labeled the same way, and that's correct, right, Amanda?
Yeah, so in essence, you're approving item 1 on the criminal justice.
Correct. Yes,
All right,
thank you.
so the motion is made and seconded. Discussion has been had, no more questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now we will have the,
There's a little more.
okay. Oh, okay, all right.
So,
All right.
just to go in, one of the positions is just a fill. So as so if you look at page 2 of this, my God, I'll kind of right now. There's going to be a vacancy as we're filling positions and hiring. The 7th position will become open. I'm not looking to change salaries. That would just fill. So that's 2 on my list. And then I want to talk about the request to reclassify position.
All right, so let's take number 2 for a motion by Matt,
I don't think we
seconded
need-
by Garrity.
I don't think we need a resolution to fill, right? I'm sorry, is a resolution required by committee to fill that?
Not a resolution, but the committee has to approve that.
So it's just a committee approval?
Okay, all in favor for number 2?
Aye.
Number 3, request to reclassify position.
Yeah, thank you. So what's happened in the office, as I mentioned, there's some people that have worked there for 15 years and plus. We have someone that's been there for 15 years roughly, who's really slowly worked their way out of their class. And if you look, you'll see that that person's a senior typist, and I've been working with the county, and Chris manager has helped me a great deal with working with the classifications. What's just evolved over time, and does, there's somebody there's work to be done, they just start taking on the work. And in looking at it, and looking at the job descriptions, it appears it's the more appropriate description that you would office specialist. Some of the things this individual is doing includes grant work, which is not part of the senior typist description. They are going to be asked to take on managing drug court, which you'll see is not also something outside of that. They're also doing some training. And that's what happens when you have someone who's been there for 15 years. As a way to handle that fiscally, my intention is to eliminate that line, the drug court coordinator line, and that would, you'll see, be removed. And so when you, and I want to, there's a little more into this that I need to discuss with you. So that's about a net even. We also have someone that's going to be moving out of their position and becoming my confidential secretary. And in doing so, that's going to create an opening. I realized later in the process that we don't have a resolution on that yet, but you are going to see some numbers in your on the bottom of your page. The person that's leaving has about 16 years experience. We don't anticipate having anyone with that kind of experience to fill. And again, working with Chris, we're trying to just come up with the proper designation for that position. On this document you're seeing, where you see Secretary 1, we're not asking to fill that today, but I am going to be coming back, I hope in August, and seeking that right position. Whatever that be, there is going to be, it looks like a fairly significant change. So when you see the, on your document, the savings of $8,213, that is not an exact figure. Certainly there's a savings, but that figure is not exact because those numbers get adjusted. If someone comes in with 3 years experience, there'll be an adjustment, and if someone comes in with none, 5, that kind of thing. I'm not asking for that today. I'm going to ask for that in August once we've established the position and classification. But I wanted everyone to be aware of where I think there's just going to be natural savings that's going to come in because one person is leaving and one person is moving out of the CSCA position. So that's
Trish, are you okay with this move? You've studied this?
Yes,
and
we've
it
talked
falls-
at length, we've gone through documentations at length with the individuals who are involved in these positions, with Jason, with Debbie, with everybody who's involved, and...
So you're good with all the
We
changes?
are.
I'll make a motion that we move ahead with number 3.
Also, just one other thing, just concerning that you're backfilling the position of your confidential secretary.
yeah. So that's what's going to create that. So one is a reclassification, and one would be the confidential secretary. As she moved in, backfilled, that's going to create that opening. We just want to make sure we have it classified appropriately, and then I'll come and go over
Right.
that.
Garrity has made the motion for number 3. Second, Claudia. All in favor?
Aye.
And number 4.
4, we've kind of discussed heavily, that is that per diem.
Wasn't that included in our initial one? Rachel, isn't that included?
I thought it was. The numbers aren't
Sorry about
the
that.
same. No, it's not your fault. It's personnel looks a little different than this one. So we approved item 1, then we did item 2, we just did 3, so...
Jason, on number 4, it's $250 a day. Is that mileage included? Or
No, I did not contemplate mileage, but really mileage is included now. So whoever's doing it now on the weekends is getting mileage.
All right, so I mean, they do get mileage for that. Okay.
Well, I'm happy to move forward.
And motion by Rachel for 4, and second by Claudia. All in favor? Okay. Any pending items? Now, what's going to happen is that what we've just approved as a Criminal Justice Committee has to go before Personnel and Finance. So I will change positions with Rachel, I guess. Motion to adjourn?
Here.
Claudia, and second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.